Hi, I'm Stacey Truck, world traveler, history nerd, and tour guide here in Sydney. I love showing people the hidden gems that are all around the city. Today, I'm going to be showing you a few of my favorites. And specifically, we're going to be looking at 5 hidden gems that are down at your feet. That's right, these are things people literally step over when they're looking at the biggest monuments around the city. But I am not going to let you step over them. After you watch this, you'll never look at the city the same way. Let's get started. Welcome to Circular Quay. Well, tourists come here to look at the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. You can look at those too, but then we're going to look down because there's some really cool history stuff on the pavement. These bronze markers are the markers for the 1788 shoreline. So in 1788, this was when the Europeans arrived. This was a marshland. So there would have been mangroves, there would have been crabs, there would have been stingrays even in the harbor. And now the quay, as you can see, has been built much further out into the water. So these bronze markers mark where the original shoreline would have been in 1788. Also, if you look around, you'll see the 1844 shoreline, and those are gray strips along. So definitely look down when you're at Circular Quay. I'm at Loftus Lane, one of the newest developments in Sydney, and I'm going to show you a hidden gem that a lot of people are stepping right on top of. Okay, so what I want to show you is right here on the pavement. This is a bit uncomfortable, so have a look. I'll get a better view and then I'll tell you what these mean. Okay, look here. These are fantastic. There are hundreds of them all up and down this laneway, and these are fish scales created by Indigenous artist Jonathan Jones. So he's a Kamilaroi and Wiradjuri man who has taken the marble that was formerly on the floor of these wool stores. So these used to be buildings were right behind the customs house, and this is where all the wool from the colony would have been stored. And so Jonathan Jones has taken that marble and cut them into fish scale shapes and put them all up and down this laneway. They're absolutely beautiful. The character of each little marble piece is different and they're simply gorgeous. And heaps of people are just stepping right over them. So I encourage you to have a look. Okay. I'm in rocks on George Street. Don't worry, there's barriers here, so a car is not going to run over me. George Street is Australia's oldest road, and it was paved by the Europeans following an Indigenous walking trail. And here, on the ground, don't know if you can see, let's bring you in. These pavers are actually made out of wood. Why is that? So when the Europeans first came here, the stone that's all around Sydney is sandstone. It is complete rubbish for paving. It just wears away. But what is really strong in Sydney is the eucalyptus trees. So these trees are actually so hard that the colonists had a hard time cutting them with their tools at first. But when they did get tools that actually worked, they cut the wood up and they put the grain end up, and it is really hard paving stones. And so that's what Australia's first road was paved with. Now here, these aren't actually the same pieces of wood, those have rotted away, but this is a reenactment of how Australia's first street would have been paved. Definitely worth looking down for this one. I am at the new Salesforce Tower complex. Bit of a wind tunnel here, but they have made an entire new giant building and also put in some really cool history details down below. Just want to say, before I show you what it is, when you're in a city, don't be afraid to wander around as long as you're not going in a place that's completely off limits. Some of the best stuff is in the hidden nooks and crannies. Okay, now I'll show you what's at your feet. So from George Street at Salesforce Tower, go down the steps, turn right. On the ground is the only 1792 shoreline marker that I know of in Sydney. This one's great. Straight ahead of you is a really great laneway I'm going to talk about at a different time. Enjoy this and then turn around and have a coffee at the Dutch Smuggler because that's a really lovely coffee shop too. And then we'll go to our next site. Okay, now we're at Macquarie Park. There's lots to see here that is gonna have to be a different video. But right now I wanna show you something that's on the ground level. And I can guarantee you did not guess this one was coming. Okay, I bet you never thought to look here. Under the benches. Now these look like they could be real birds, but they're not. See, I can touch them. These are bronze birds, and they're all over Macquarie Park and also all up and down Bridge Street. There's over 60 of them, and it's actually a really fun scavenger hunt to try and find them. Even I haven't found them all. This is part of an art installation called Distance to Your Heart, and this is one of my favorite hidden gems. So have a look, see how many of these little bronze birds you can find. Look on the footpath, but then also look up. But looking up's for a different day, different video. Are you visiting Sydney and keen to check these out on your own? Yeah, I hope so. If so, I've made it really easy for you. I've put together a Google Maps list, which has the pinpoint of each location I've shown you today. I'll probably even throw in a couple of extras. So check below for the link. It's called Hidden Gems Footpath, and that'll help you find all of these really easily on your visit. This is part of my Hidden Sydney series where I go looking around for cool things that I think you haven't seen yet. So definitely check the playlist for other hidden gems in Sydney. See you!